or if I'd gotten retail, oh my God, I'm not gonna drink. Like, why would I drink? Make so many friends. I love this video already. Real reason is to be closer to Dubstep Festival. Little to no research on Whistler. Hello everyone, welcome to the video. If you're new to this channel, I'm Caitlin. I'm really bad at introducing myself, but I am an Australian who moved to Canada mainly to... Honestly, the real reason is to be closer to Dubstep Festival. Which I know is super random, super niche, but that is what me and my boyfriend love to do, and we figured rather than flying from Australia every time, how about we just move to Canada and live our best life, living in beautiful British Columbia and going to dubstep festivals whenever we have time. I'm cracking my knuckles, yuck. I hate introducing myself. We moved to Whistler almost 2 years ago now. I also have been wearing gloves and a scarf. So this is all the stuff that I'm already wearing, and it's only -3. 2 winters ago, we organized our job and our housing before we came, so we were very, very lucky. I feel like in terms of a Whistler story, ours is a really good one. If you've watched my channel before, I'm more of like a mature kind of person that comes here. I'm a lot older than some people that are here. Well, not a lot older. I'm not like an old grandma, but I definitely came here in the hopes of staying here a little bit more long term. I knew I was going to be here for more than a season. I definitely wanted to use my whole 2-year visa. Yeah, I've had a really, really great time while I've been here, and over that time I've been sharing a lot of content about Whistler and moving to a ski town, and it's been really popular. So I just want to keep sharing more and more information as I learn it and as I live here. So something that I think is really important that I need to share, I kind of have shared some of this information before scattered through my videos, but I wanted to share it all in one place, and that is all the things that I wish I knew before moving here. Because to be honest, I did not know really anything about ski towns before I came. I knew from what I had to research, but I did most of my research on Banff. I did little to no research on Whistler. I just was going to go with the flow. In terms of work, I was going to work whatever job I got, which luckily was food and beverage, and it worked out really well for me. But I was willing to do anything. All I was worried about was getting a house. I did not realize a lot of the stuff that I'm going to share with you. So most of this will be related to moving to a ski town, I would say. Obviously a lot of people move abroad to Canada to live long term, and that's really great, and that is something that like I am thinking about. But for right now, most of my experience obviously is in a ski town, so it's very different to just moving abroad to say like a major city. So just keep that in mind, but I think some things may still be relevant. So the first thing that I wish I had known was that it's totally okay if you don't have an exact plan. I'm definitely like a planner. I'm definitely like, I do not like the unknown. I like to have everything organized. Literally no instruction right now. And I don't go well without instruction. But obviously moving abroad, you're not gonna have that. So I was very lucky that I had my job organized and I had my housing and I had a lot organized, but it's totally okay if you come here and you don't know, you don't have a job or don't have a house. I was so worried about the housing, and to be fair, it is like a big issue here in Whistler and in ski towns trying to get housing, but at the same time there are options, and almost everyone that I've known personally has found a house or found staff housing or found a private house, and it has worked out for them. So like, just don't lose hope if you are like doing it on a whim. It's gonna be okay. I think the biggest thing is just making sure that you have money. That's $1,800. Still like definitely important. I knew it then and I know it now. Make sure you have some money. That's definitely key. I think be open to things changing as you come here. A lot of people only plan to stay for a season. Oh my God, is this a future one? Oh, this is a future one. Oh, it's fine. On with the plan. If you plan to just stay for a season and you want to stay for longer, like that's totally okay, because that is very very normal. Like a lot of people plan to just be here for a winter, like maybe like taking a gap year or something along those lines. And the urge to stay is very, very real, because a season goes really fast. You create really good bonds with everyone, and then you're supposed to go home, which like you don't want to, and that's totally fair. Like, try not to feel guilty if you have a life waiting for you back home. Just, it's totally okay if you want to stay for another season. Okay, I'm giving you permission. It's totally fine. A lot of people do it. You are not alone, and it could end up being like a really good thing for you. Like I said, if you don't have everything planned out, do not stress. It'll come together so naturally when you get here. And I know that's a hard thing to think about when you're nervous and worried coming here, but honestly, like, you'll get your job and you'll have your friends. Being here will just like write a story that you didn't even imagine. Like, you can't imagine it because it hasn't happened yet. And it's like so random also, in that like the people that you meet, this is another one that's going to come up anyway. Like, the people that you meet are so random in that, like, where they come from and what their plans are, and like things are just going to like evolve so rapidly, and you're just going to have the best time. Oh, I love this video already. I love talking about good things about Whistler. I feel like sometimes I like can get a bit like mean at you, but there are so many like amazing things, which leads me to kind of what I just mentioned as well. You will form some of your most special relationships. I 100% believe this. When I was moving here, I honestly did not really think about the people at all. That's just like me as a person. Like, I did not consider, I guess I knew that I would make friends, but I just was thinking about my job, and I was thinking about my travel, and I was just thinking about all this other stuff, and I did not really plan, which makes sense, but like I did not plan to like make so many friends. Not so many, but I did not plan to find such like special people. And especially like last winter was the first season for almost everyone on my team that I worked with. And when it's your first season together, you just create such a bond, because you're like going through this crazy experience together. And obviously we don't have our family here, so you definitely like start to like create a little family here, and you create bonds with people. And I definitely wasn't prepared for how close we would get with people. In saying that, it is really hard to say goodbye to people, because like you make all these amazing friendships, and then obviously people move on, which is like so great. It's so great that like people are going back home or going wherever they need to go, but it is like really hard to say goodbye. But it doesn't have to be forever, like especially even with like my dubstep friends that I have across the world. Like, I don't see them very often, but I know that like we have such a special connection, and that when I do see them, it's going to be amazing. And like the time that we have shared together is amazing. So like, yeah, just try and really be grateful for your friends while you have them. And just, even if you're not like a huge people person, like trust me, you've got to make like some great friends and some great memories, and it's going to be like just the best time. Oh my God, it's so cute. Okay, what's the next thing? Something that I wish I had sort of prepared for and possibly talked to people back home about before I came is I can't talk, is that I wish I knew how guilty I would feel for leaving. I sort of like, everyone was excited for me and whatnot. When I was home, I did think like, you know, it's a bit rude of me to just like uproot my life and leave all my friends and family behind. I didn't really think too much about the fact that like I would miss things, as in miss occasions. And yeah, there are definitely days where I'm just like, that's really rude of me to just leave. And I know no one back home would think that. I know that they would think it's so great that I'm here, and it's definitely all internal, but you will have times where you feel like that. And it's so hard because I think that's another thing with like staying for more than a season is like, you want to be two places at once. Like that's really the problem that's going on, is like, especially for me right now, it's like I want to be home so bad, but I also love it here, and I wish like there was a way that I could have both. And yeah, that's kind of sad. My advice to you, if you're feeling guilty or when you do feel guilty, is just like, try and just really soak up the experience as much as you can, so that like when you do come home, like don't feel guilty while you're here and like not have fun. Like you might as well just have the best time of your life, so that when you do come home, it's like worth it that you left, you know? You want to leave and be like we want to be home and think, wow, it's so freaking cool that I did that, and I had to sacrifice time with my family for a certain amount of time for that, but like look how amazing it turned out. So that's sort of what I try and keep in mind. That was sad.
Nice work.
So this is like Canadian specific, I guess, like the whole of Canada and America, but obviously you guys know about tipping, and like you maybe, I don't know how much you guys know actually. Let's pretend you know like barely anything. Let's talk about the USA first, because that's like, that makes more sense to me. In the US, servers and whatnot, they get paid very low hourly rate, and then they rely heavily on their tips to survive, right? So I actually met a girl at a dubstep festival who said her hourly rate was $2 an hour. Like no joke, $2. So she relies on her tips. And I don't know why that's a thing, but it is a thing. So like in the US, 100% you should be tipping like your servers and anyone that serves you food and anyone that serves you drinks, like that. Those people heavily rely on tips. And then in Canada, there's still definitely a tipping culture with like serving, bartenders, like dinner, like food, anything like that. There's like a big tipping culture still. But the thing that is less clear in Canada is the fact that like, I don't know how to say this without being rude. Like some people don't need the tip to survive. Like for instance, in food and beverage where I work, we get paid a good hourly rate. The tip is just like an extra if you want to tip for good service or tip for good guest experience. Like that's when you will tip. And when I first got here, I was like, I'm not really going to tip unless it's good service. But the longer you stay here, the more you realize it is very, like, I sound like a totally different person. To me now, it's like super disrespectful to like not tip someone that's like served you. So 100% you need to tip someone that serves you. And it can feel a bit shit at the start, spending more money, but it is just the right thing to do. So just probably tip. Some people do say locals don't have to tip, and there are times where like I'll just tip an amount rather than a percent, because a percent can like get really high really fast. But I would just tip everyone, honestly. That's the best way to like not feel awkward. But you generally, the people that ask for a tip here are almost everyone. So obviously servers, bartenders, any kind of food that you get ever, other than like a fast food place. Other than that, well, no, that's a lie. There are like a very few places that ask for tips. If you like, you'll be able to tell because when you go to pay, it won't ask you for a tip. But like almost everyone else does, like taxi drivers, cafes. Where else do you spend money? So just prepare for that, and the sooner that you accept it, the easier it'll be. And then if you are fortunate enough to have a job where you get tips, you'll be like, you know what, I get tips, I should give tips, and it all works out. So just tip, okay? Oh, This is a good one. So, as I said before, when I first was moving here, I was like, I just want any job. I don't care what the job is. Does it matter to me? I wish I had known before I came that, well, I mean, I got lucky, but I wish I had known that your job ends up being more important than you realize. Like, your job definitely impacts so much of your life. Your, like, the times that you work, the people that you're around, that has like a huge impact. So I think spend a little bit more time thinking about what kind of job you want to work, especially if like you're a skier. Like, it doesn't make sense for you to have a full-time daytime job. Does that make sense? It makes more sense for you to be riding all day and then going to work at night. Yeah, if you're someone who doesn't like fast pace, there's options, I guess. If you want to be around a lot of people, food and bev, you know, like a bigger team, that's where it's at. There are like a lot of different options, and I have done a video on different jobs and that kind of thing, so that you can like kind of wrap your head around it more. But definitely I would think about that more. You don't just have to get the shittest job there is. And also, like, I mean, it's different now because I'm a manager, but like, just because you're here for like even a season or a little bit longer, it doesn't mean you can't invest a little bit of yourself into your job, because it can have great benefits for you. Like, you know, if you're a really good worker and you get promoted, like, you're getting more money, so you might as well have more money while you're here. Do you know what I mean? So there are like, yeah, your job matters. Okay, I'm so glad. Imagine if I'd got like a freaking hotel job, I would have honestly died. Or if I'd gotten retail, oh my god, no, it would have been just like the worst time of my life. Hey, just a little disclaimer. I don't mean that retail's bad. I just mean that I personally could not work in retail because of the slow pace. I need that fast pace, you know? They've been like blurry the whole time. Okay, and these are very ski towny, these other things that I have thought about that I wish I had known. This one's really funny. I've shared this before. I'm not even kidding. When I came here, before I came here, I was like, I don't know if something came up about drinking, but I was just like, I'm not gonna drink. Like, why would I drink? I'm not gonna, like, I'm party. Like, I'm not gonna do that. That made no sense to me. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And even though like I do drink and I do go out like back home, but more for like events, I would never just drink just because, ever. And I was sure, like, why would I drink? That makes no sense. Listen. Good. We both. If you live in Whistler, or probably, I'm assuming, any ski town, you're gonna drink. Trust me, you're gonna drink a lot. And even for people like me who don't drink a lot, you end up drinking a lot, and it's actually crazy. Like, the level of drinking is absolutely wild. So prepare for that. I don't know how you can prepare for that. I have said before you come, don't bother going out. I would definitely suggest that. Be a hermit for a few months beforehand, because you're not going to need to go out unless you're saying goodbye. Once you get here, trust me, you'll be drinking. I guess that will impact your savings. It'll also, I mean, if you're someone who, I don't want to deter you from coming, but like, if you're someone who has like a drinking problem, that's something to take in mind. What's that? What's that, brother? I do see it hit people quite hard, because especially if you're like a social person and you just can't say no to anything, that's when it's really hard. So definitely, like, it's important to set some boundaries and try to just find a balance, but it is very hard. It is extremely hard. I have no advice for that, honestly. It's too long to get into, but just like, that's something that I wish I had known, that I would be going to party apparently and go out and drink and spend money. Something else I wish I had known. I sort of knew this, but I didn't really think about it too much, is that like, in Whistler there were so many Australians, and I honestly thought I was moving to Canada and I was going to be like around so many Canadians and like turn American and like have an American accent. That's definitely not going to happen because I spend the majority of my time with Australians. Well, I do have some Canadian friends, but very minimal. Generally, like in our team, let's say a team of like 50, there might be like 2 Canadians, maybe a little bit more. It kind of depends on the team. So yeah, there's a lot of Australians. Then Australians would make up the like a large chunk of the rest. Then there's like people from the UK, that would be the other chunk, and then like South America and Europe and that kind of thing, they make up a smaller portion. So definitely you are experiencing like different groups of people, which is amazing. That's what I love. Like I love being around people from different countries. That's just like so much fun. The Australians, like I love them, but an Australian is just like a family member, you know, because they're just the same as you. So yeah, I mean, it has been good because it makes you feel closer to home and not so far away, and like you're with your people and not in such a foreign place. But yeah, don't leave expecting to never see an Australian again, because you are going to be surprised. Oh my god, I went so Australian then. Okay, another thing that I wish I had known when I got here, because we would have like done this sooner, is I wish I had known that life here in a ski town is better with a car. So we didn't have a car for until like April maybe, so like most of winter. Obviously like it is harder to drive in winter, so like we probably wouldn't have used the car that much. But when we got a car, oh my god, my life just like got so freaking good. Because before that we were living at West Side, which you know, and we would have to drive into, sorry, not drive, because we didn't have a car. We would have to bus into this village every day. So like the bus, love the bus system, amazing, but like having to catch a bus every day in the shit weather, and then when there's like traffic delays and that kind of thing, was like really, really, really hard. Plus I had a broken arm for a bit, so that was really hard. And it's just like everything was like harder to do. Like we wanted to go to do our food shopping, it would take like an hour or even longer, like trying to catch a bus and whatnot, and like trying to time the right buses, because there's like a fast one and a slow one. And just, you know, if I want to go out for the night, then I got to catch a bus, and I got to worry about getting all the way home on my own, and it was just like so annoying. And then I mean, now we're very lucky, we live like closer to the village, which is great, but even still, like we need the car for things. And like if you don't have a car in Whistler, like there's so many things that you can't do. Like you can't just go to Squamish, you can't like go for a little road trip, you can't go camping. Like there's so many things that you can't do, and you just have like no freedom. Like there's some people I know that don't have a car, and they haven't even like left Whistler like for a long time, especially in winter. Like you just like basically don't leave, and that's just like so shit. Like we have Vancouver literally like less than 2 hours away, and being able to just go to Vancouver whenever we want, which is like not often, but like being able to just like go to a dubstep show or whatever. And then also the fact that like then when we got the car, we were like able to do road trips, and we like drove to Shambhala and we drove to Base Canyon, which is like amazing. So that was really, really good. And I would definitely suggest, if you're staying here for like longer than a season, you know that you're definitely staying, you should just like try and have enough savings to just buy a car when you get here. Like maybe not in winter, like you don't really need it that much, but like as soon as like winter passes and it's like spring, you should buy a car 100%. And then you can sell anyway, so it's fine. Before I came here, I definitely didn't know anything about the dates for winter and summer, and I definitely didn't know anything about dead seasons. So that's something to keep in mind if you've never heard of that. Basically, I mean, it sort of makes sense, but like you don't really think too much about it and how it will impact your life. But basically, once winter is over, like we shut the mountain, so there's no skiing, right? But then there's like a break before summer. So like luckily the winter to summer is like very short, because they open the bike park on Whistler side and then sightseeing on Blackcomb. I would assume it would be like the same for most ski resorts. I don't know how much there is for summer activities in other ski resorts. Like Banff definitely has something, but I'm not sure about the rest. But basically they have to shut for a portion of time, and during that time you're not getting paid because you have a seasonal contract. So when you get here, you have like a full-time job, but it's seasonal, so it's like only for winter. So then after that, your contract, you're basically unemployed. You are allowed to stay in housing if you're in staff housing, but you won't have any work. So yeah, winter to summer, not so bad. Summer to winter, way worse, because obviously it becomes fall, weather turns shit, so like nothing's happening. You doing like a ski job, like a seasonal winter job, they ask you usually to be here in like November. Like nothing's happening in October, like nothing is happening. So it's really, like, it can be a hard time, especially if you're not working. So you can try and get like part-time jobs somewhere else, but obviously like if the mountain's not open, like everything is a lot quieter, so there's like not a lot of work for anyone. So that's like a good time to go on holiday if you can afford it, but you have to like prepare for the fact that you're not getting paid. Yeah, it's a hard one because it makes sense to travel in that time, but also like if you have no money, it's really hard, and like not all of us can just like afford to just fly home for a month. But yeah, I would just have that on your radar, that especially if you like come for summer, you're gonna have to prepare for that dead season. And that's everything that I wish I knew. There's like, I think that's the major things. Like I honestly didn't know too much when I first came here, so like it would kind of, yeah, I got very, very, very lucky, and I'm so lucky that everything's worked out for us here, because I know it can be like a really difficult place to live. But if you are moving here, that's just some things that's will keep in mind, and like somehow, you know, wrap your head around before you get here. And yeah, I don't know if it'll improve your experience, but at least now you know. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. I think it's going to be quite a long one. I've been talking a really, really long time. I appreciate y'all for watching. If this was your first time watching one of my videos, you should definitely watch more of them, because I feel like I have like a lot of relevant information, and I often find that people like, they ask what I already have shown. So just keep watching, and like you'll learn some stuff, especially about Whistler. Like I have like room tours and like a lot of good information about working for the mountain and that kind of thing. So yeah, you should subscribe as well, because I need some subscribers, please. That was weird. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm gonna go. Bye.